In the heart of Alaska's wilderness, a sinister secret lay buried beneath the guise of everyday normality. Meet Robert Hansen, a man whose life in Anchorage was the epitome of ordinary at first glance. A local baker known for his delicious pastries and a family man, Hansen portrayed the image of a community pillar. Yet, behind this facade of normalcy lurked a chilling reality that would shock the nation. Hansen, also infamously known as the Butcher Baker, harbored a dark side that was inconceivable to those who knew him only by day. By night, he transformed into a cold, calculating predator. His dual existence remained a well-kept secret as he navigated through his double life with terrifying precision. To the public, Hansen was just a baker. To his victims, he was the face of their nightmares, orchestrating a series of horrifying crimes that remained undiscovered for years. But how did a respected local baker turn into one of the most feared predators in Alaskan history? Born in 1939 in Iowa, Robert Hansen's early life was far from ordinary. Raised in the small town of Pocahontas, Hansen faced challenges that would shape his twisted path. A stutter made communication a daily battle, while his left-handedness attracted undue attention in an era less understanding of such differences. These physical quirks became fodder for relentless bullying, seeding a deep resentment within him. As Hansen grew, so did his desire for retribution. The taunts and jeers of his peers echoed in his mind, fueling a fire that would soon manifest in destructive ways. It was in this turbulent emotional landscape that Hansen committed his first known crime, arson. Driven by a need to exert control and inflict the pain he felt, he set fire to a local bus garage, an act of defiance against a community he believed had wronged him. Despite his vehement denials, the evidence was irrefutable. Convicted of arson, Hansen was sent to a reformatory, a place meant to rehabilitate errant youths. However, rather than turning over a new leaf, the reformatory became a crucible that hardened his resolve. It was here, among other troubled souls, that Hansen's capacity for violence matured, nurtured by an environment that was less about correction and more about survival. These early flames of vengeance, ignited by rejection and ridicule, were merely the beginning of Hansen's dark journey. Seeking a fresh start, Hansen moved to Anchorage, Alaska, where he opened a bakery and started anew. In the early 70s, this fresh-faced baker from Iowa seemed to melt perfectly into the tapestry of Anchorage. His bakery quickly became a community staple, known for its delightful pastries and the warm, inviting aroma that seeped into the cold Alaskan air. To his neighbors and customers, Robert Hansen was a pillar of society, a hard-working, family-oriented man who served fresh bread with a smile. His establishment wasn't just a place to eat. It was a place where warm conversations brewed over steaming cups of coffee, where the harshness of Alaskan winters seemed a little less biting. Yet, this congenial facade was meticulously crafted. Behind the scenes, the very hands that kneaded dough and decorated cakes were also plotting sinister deeds. Hansen's bakery, while a place of comfort for many, served as his alibi, a cover for the darkness that lurked within him. By day, he was a baker. By night, a predator in the vast wilderness. Hansen's dual life was a chilling juxtaposition. Here was a man who could both create and destroy, his bakery acting as the perfect front for his heinous activities. He chose his victims with the same care he applied to his baking, meticulously and without haste. Underneath the warm smiles and freshly baked bread, a cold-hearted hunter was carefully choosing his prey. The vast, secluded landscapes of Alaska became Hansen's grim playground. In the icy embrace of these wilderness expanses, Robert Hansen found the perfect backdrop for his sinister pursuits. His method, a twisted game of cat and mouse, using the remote terrain to his advantage. The isolation not only provided him with the cover of anonymity, but also gave him the audacity to believe he could operate without repercussions. Hansen's victims were primarily sex workers and transient women, individuals he calculated would not be immediately missed. This cold strategy allowed his horrifying actions to go unnoticed for years. He would lure these women under the guise of a paying client. Once trust was established, the scenario darkened rapidly. Hansen would then reveal his true intentions, not just to harm but to hunt his victims across the barren Alaskan wilderness. As a seasoned hunter and pilot, Hansen utilized his skills to elevate his cruel game. He would transport the unsuspecting women to remote areas only accessible by his private plane. There, the chase would begin. The women, stripped of their basic dignities, were subjected to a terrifying ordeal, a real-life hunt. Hansen relished in the power and control as he stalked them like prey, a perverse pleasure derived from their fear and desperation. But Hansen didn't stop at physical dominance. He sought to erase their existences, burying the unfortunate in clandestine graves scattered across the vast Alaskan landscape. These hidden burial sites were a macabre testament to his relentless brutality, a hunter marking his territory with the lives he had stolen. Despite his meticulous planning and the remoteness of his crimes, cracks began to appear in Hansen's facade. Courageous voices soon began to echo through the silence he thought he had secured. But every game has its turning point, and for Hansen, it was imminent. The tides turned when one brave soul dared to escape Hansen's clutches. This courageous act unfolded in the summer of 1983, when Cindy Paulson, a young woman caught in a dire situation, managed to break free from the grasp of Robert Hansen. With her wrists still raw from the restraints and her heart pounding with fear, Cindy found her way to the local police, her story a chilling testament to the horrors she had endured. As Cindy recounted her ordeal, the authorities were prompted to piece together a pattern that had previously gone unnoticed. Cindy described how Hansen had abducted her, taken her to his secluded cabin, and subjected her to unthinkable terror. Her detailed account, marked by unmistakable sincerity and precise detail, left little doubt in the minds of the investigators. Fueled by Cindy's testimony, the police initiated a deep dive into Hansen's life. The search led them to unearth disturbing evidence that had long been buried beneath the deceptive facade of a baker and family man. Maps with cryptic markings, jewelry belonging to missing women, and firearms matched to ballistics from cold cases were among the damning items retrieved from Hansen's property. As the evidence mounted, so did the horror of Hansen's true persona. Cindy's escape had opened the floodgates to a series of investigations that would eventually unveil the grim reality of over 17 women who had fallen victim to Hansen's brutality. Cindy's courage brought Hansen's reign of terror into the glaring light of justice. With irrefutable evidence mounting against him, the butcher-baker's facade crumbled. The trial of Robert Hansen became a focal point, not just for the people of Alaska, but for observers across the nation. As the courtroom proceedings unfolded, the evidence laid bare was overwhelming. Maps with X marks, personal belongings of missing women, and firearms linked to multiple crime scenes all pointed to one man, Robert Hansen. The prosecution meticulously pieced together Hansen's reign of terror. Each testimony, each recovered artifact, was a stark reminder of the dual life he led. The man who once served pastries by morning was hunting human beings by night. The jury, faced with the mounting horror of Hansen's actions, found him guilty on all counts. His sentence was severe, yet reflective of his gruesome spree. 461 years in prison, ensuring he would never again harm another soul. This case leaves us with profound lessons about vigilance and the importance of community awareness. Hansen exploited the vulnerabilities of those living on society's margins, those whom he believed would not be missed. This tragic oversight underlines the crucial need for societies to protect all its members, especially the most vulnerable. Moreover, Hansen's ability to conceal his monstrous deeds behind the facade of a family man and community baker is chilling. It prompts a necessary reflection on the darkness that can lurk behind the most familiar faces. It reminds us that evil does not always look evil. Sometimes it looks ordinary, hiding in plain sight among us. Though justice was served, the scars left by his heinous acts remind us of the darkness that can hide behind a familiar face. The butcher-baker's case is a grim parable about unchecked rage and the catastrophic consequences of surrendering to one's darkest desires. It challenges us to be ever vigilant, to look deeper, and to remember that sometimes the real monsters are cloaked in the mundane. As the sun sets on this chilling tale, we shift our focus from the predator to the prey. Today we remember not the man behind the horrors, but the lives tragically cut short by his actions. Each victim was more than a name. They were individuals with dreams, families, and a rightful place in this world that was brutally stolen from them. Their stories, though overshadowed by the gruesome nature of their end, are threads in the larger tapestry of human experience. They remind us of the resilience of the human spirit, the capacity for survival, and the profound need for compassion in the darkest of times. It is crucial to acknowledge and honor these lives, to ensure their memories inspire action and change rather than despair. Let us carry forward not the legacy of a killer, but the indomitable spirit of those who faced unimaginable terror. In remembering them, we find the strength to fight against the darkness and protect the innocent.